And I ask, you promise to share us with your friends. Hear something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the Podcast for Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
Put your mouth where your money is. Radio for Small Business with HomeBiz.
Well, it's Radio for Small Business. Your host, Eugene Rowe. Check us out on homebiz.com. You can also check the show out on Google Play, iTunes, Spreaker, SoundCloud, and a whole lot more options. Right now, today, I've got David Lynch with Simonin Realtors on the show. David, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your background. Realty, real estate, are you investing? Or are you more so realtor? How's that work?
I'm a commercial realtor. I've been in the business about 30 years. I got my MBA in 85 and started out with Humana in corporate acquisition and development, picking out their sites around the Southeast U.S. when they were a hospital company.
Wow.
Then went on to NTS. It's a regional commercial group here that leases office buildings. They had about 21 office buildings.
Okay.
Did some leasing for them, and then I got into general commercial brokerage and have followed that path.
So tell me a little bit, what part of the country are you in, David?
Midwest.
Okay.
Which, Louisville is a big area for industrial because it's about 6 hours to Chicago, to Atlanta, to St. Louis, 4.5, to the East Coast, probably about 7 or 8. So it's a good central location. We got a couple of new bridges going in downtown that's going to allow quicker access north-south, and we have several interstates here that go north, south, east, west.
I actually like Louisville because I could be in downtown and in the next 5 minutes I'm in Indiana, and I thought that was pretty cool.
That is.
Just by crossing
You're
the bridge.
in the country in a hurry.
Awesome. So now we're talking to David Lynch with Simonin Realty in Louisville, Kentucky. Am I pronouncing it right, David? Louisville?
That is correct.
Awesome.
You got it. I could tell you talked to someone here before.
Oh, yeah. I've been corrected before. You say Louisville in Louisville, and people look at you funny.
Right. That's right. Where are you from?
So now you're commercial realty. Most of the people that we talk to, they're either residential or in many cases they're investors. Tell us about the commercial industry that makes it different from, say, for instance, residential.
Some of the things that make commercial a little different is the time. It takes a much longer time to make from the actual listing to the sale.
The advertising, be commercial. Do you guys ever try to focus, say, for instance, if a building's empty or a commercial real estate property is empty, do you maybe try to help companies who want to move into town, incentivize them to move into your places?
Yes, we do. That would be mostly leasing a lot of times. We do all kinds of leasing for large and small properties, and that's a little bit different game. You play that game with a letter of intent usually to say, it's kind of like, this is what I'd like to do, and then you negotiate that back and forth before you get to the lease.
I got you.
So that is the leasing side of it.
Huh. So tell us about, I know you mentioned how you got started, but what was the mindset that brought you into the commercial industry? And before you say that, we're talking to David Lynch with Simonin Realty, Commercial Realty in Louisville, Kentucky. Tell us a little bit about the mindset that took you into commercial versus where it seems like many other people like to go into homeowners and private property.
Well, growing up, I was a runner in high school and college, so that required a lot of doing on your own and some on teams. And from that background, I came into real estate. My brother-in-law sells farms in Tennessee and has done that for 30, 40 years. And I thought I'd get into residential, which I started in. And then I kind of expanded into commercial because it was a little more challenging. It takes a little more time, a little more effort, a little more knowledge. And you run into a lot of the big thing that's the difference between residential and commercial is zoning. You can only put certain kinds of businesses in certain locations of property based on the zoning. So, you can't just go out and buy any business you want. It has to fit the zoning method, or you have to get it rezoned. So you have zoning issues, you have environmental. A lot of times on homes you get a home inspection. Well, when you get to commercial, you have a commercial requirement. Before you do anything, you really need to get with your lender, banker, whoever is going to help you with the money, and make sure you can get qualified. And that can take sometimes anywhere from a month to 2 or 3 months, even up to 6 months I have seen in the days when we were between 07 and 14.
Oh, in the market.
A long time, because the market requirements for lending changed, and that forced more time involved in that. So the most important thing is to get started with the lender first. And then secondly, you want to find, someone you can work with that has kind of the same kind of mindset that you do. That's very helpful if you all working on the same page of kind of attitude to the process. So you find that, and then you find the different avenues to go and look. Still, a lot of it is on the internet, even though everything is not on the internet, unfortunately, on the commercial side, but a good majority of it is. So you start, your search on the internet.
Joe, he's with Commercial Realty. David, why don't you give the listeners a way to get a hold of you?
Well, there's several ways you can get a hold of me. My first is my email, dlynch, DLYNCH, @Simonin.com. That's SEMONIN.com. I also have a website, David Lynch, one word, .Simonin.com. I have plenty of numbers. Probably my cell number is the easiest way, area code 502-417-3888. You can find all that on my website, and I have a $5,000 bill on there. If you click on it, it'll give you a miniature 2.5-minute version of my listing presentation, so you kind of have a little heads up on what I do and how I approach it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. David Lynch with Simonin Commercial Realty right here on homebubiz.com. Make sure as a listener, you touch, share, like, tweet, whatever you do, do it online. We're available everywhere. David, thanks for taking your time out on homebubiz.com.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for the call.
Connect, capitalize, go.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rowe, host of the podcast For Business. On behalf of our team, I'd like to say thanks. Every month, we're able to impact thousands of lives all over the globe with relevant, impactful, and insightful guests. Some of them have even been featured on national television shows like ABC's Shark Tank and CNBC's The Profit. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the podcast For Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
Inside the mind of the owner. Radio for small business. Connect, capitalize, go.
It's Radio for Small Business. Your host, Eugene Rowe, on homebubiz.com. You can check out the show not just at homebubiz.com, but on Google Play, iTunes. I think it's on YouTube. We've got it on Spreaker, Soundcast, and anywhere there's sound available, you can check it out. Right now, today, I've got a young lady who knows how to make things happen. She's got all the swag in your bag. SwagEssentials.com owner, Miss Lydia Evans. Welcome to Radio for Small Business.
Oh, thank you for having me, Eugene. I appreciate it.
So tell us, I remember you from ABC Shark Tank. That's where I remember you from. You went on to the show, but I don't want to talk about that yet. I want to talk about your background and how you got to starting business first. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, I started in business many years ago, actually 9 years ago, making a ladies line called La Bella Dolce. And it was like your handcrafted sugar scrubs, lotions, And my focus was for people that had sensitive skin like myself, because I'm a sufferer of eczema. And so I just made a bunch of natural products that were enriched with different oils and tinctures and hydrosols that help people like myself that had eczema. So that was my initial start, was actually solution to my own skincare issues.
Gotcha.
And as time went along, I became a licensed esthetician, where I really, really studied and learned skincare by the book. So I just mixed the two, and here I am.
Wow. And eventually, I mean, now you've got a product that Forbes magazine calls the coolest gift for travelers. How was it getting that designation?
Oh, that was awesome. As a matter of fact, I found out by accident. That's so funny. A lot of the press we get, I find out by accident because it's like every once in a while I'll Google myself, which when I did it right after Shark Tank, everybody said, don't Google yourself, but I did. And I was like, oh my God, all these people that have gotten the product have wrote up on it. That's amazing. So I didn't find out about it until well after the journalist had wrote about it being the coolest gift for travelers. And she did that around the holiday. And then this past Father's Day, from a completely different journalist at Forbes, she named us the best gift for Father's Day.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Wow, yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, you got so much stuff going on. It's like, okay, Forbes writes you up and you don't even know about it. It's just business as usual, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty awesome. So tell us about, I mean, obviously, when you go onto shows like ABC Shark Tank, you're attempting to raise capital from investors. And in this case, it's the sharks. Tell us about the mindset you had going up to preparing to pitch investors for your business.
Okay, well, before I even left Houston, Texas, I told my mother and my father, there's two things I'm not going to do. I'm not going to get an attitude and embarrass my family name on national TV if they turn me down.
Good idea.
That was the first thing. And the second thing was I'm not going to cry. Only because I just feel like there's business and then there's emotion, and the two don't need to cross. Gotcha. So when I went out there with a very fixed mindset of I'm going to go tell them the honest to God's truth, even though I know I didn't have, but $54,000 in sales. I'm going to tell them the honest to God's truth. I'm going to tell them my numbers, and I'm going to stand behind them firmly. I'm going to say I did $54,000 in sales as if I did $1 million.
Right.
Because I feel like to sell a $54,000 in one bar of soap by yourself out of the trunk of your car was a feat to me. So I went out there with all the confidence like I had a multi-million-dollar brand. But that doesn't mean that I didn't want to faint while I was on that stage.
Right.
Because it's very real. It's extremely real. So there's no pre-taping. There's none of that. You tape one time, and that's all you get. So when people saw me on TV on December 5th, that was the first time I saw myself.
Wow. So just in case you're just tuning in, we're talking to Lydia Evans, owner of swagessentials.com, swagessentials.com. Now, I'm saying swagessentials.com right now, and they're on radio for small business. But Lydia, you've got a cool story about when you went on to the show, you didn't necessarily have that domain name yet, did you?
No, I did not. I actually tried to get it, but it was taken. There was some little teenager, like a 15-year-old kid, that had like a little online store for T-shirts. And when I tried to contact them, they were like, no, it's not for sale or whatever have you. Neither here nor there. I went ahead and took the domain pure-swag because I felt like, okay, pure to play off of the fact that, our tagline is grooming by pure design because all of our products are natural and made with pure ingredients. And then SWNG, which is an acronym for our full name, soaps, washes, and grooming. So we took the name pure-swag.com as a domain. Well, shortly after we got that and we aired on Shark Tank, all of a sudden I get an email from an anonymous man. He said he wanted to stay anonymous. And he said, hey, why are you promoting pure-swag and not your domain? That's bad for branding. So then, of course, my first response was like, no, duh. Like, yeah, of course.
Really?
I know that. Do you think I would just purposely go get this name if it was available? So I responded back, sir, it's not available, but thank you so much for your feedback, and I appreciate that. And so he responds back and says, well, it was up for sale in February, and I have been monitoring it ever since.
Wow.
And I bought it. And I'm willing to transfer it over to you. Well, of course, because right after Shark Tank, everybody is connecting themselves to my pockets as fast as possible. I'm like, oh, this man is going to try to sell me this domain name for thousands of dollars. But it has value to my brand, and I was literally preparing myself to do that. But by the grace of God, he responded back, and he said, I'm not asking you for anything. I love you. I love your personality. I think you're going to go far, even without a shark. Your product's great. I do definitely want to remain anonymous in this. However, I would like to just transfer it over to your company, and I'll pay for everything.
What?
And I thought it was a joke.
Really?
And I was like, wow, what an angel. Yes. And I was like, what an angel. And I was like, sir, we can send you a check made out just blank. You can put your own name in there. And he was like, no need to.
Wow.
And he sent me back an email like, this is some good marketing advice for you. And, I do this professionally for a living. And I think these are some tips you can apply. And best of luck with your
that's
your
amazing.
business. And I was like, wow, yeah.
Wow. So I guess you sow those good seed, and eventually something comes back to you. And this guy, I mean, he probably could have sold it on the market for at least $5,000-$10,000, I'm guessing.
Easy. And I bought it. Yeah.
Wow. So we're talking to Lydia Evans, owner of swagessentials.com, right here on Radio for Small Business. You can check the show out on homebubiz.com, Google Play, iTunes, and many, many more places, even Twitter and Facebook. Lydia, you mentioned something, and let's switch a little bit, because obviously you came off the show, you've got some marketing publicity, and you mentioned something that people were trying to attach themselves to your pockets. Tell us about some of the things you got to do to prepare yourself, even for after the show, for, the good people and the not so good ones.
Well, life changes immediately. I mean, when you go there, you have a team of people that kind of trying to, they kind of give you some little tips here and there, like just know that regardless of how this goes, as long as your product is quality and you're a likable person, you will be successful. However, without a deal, only a certain percentage of people and a very small percentage are successful because you don't have that capital in advance. And I was one of those people. I did not have the capital in advance because, for one, I didn't get a shark, and for two, I just didn't have enough to sew into my brand to get me out of my apartment.
Okay.
And so for me, it was a very unique situation because my product is very niche. So after I left there, I got thousands. And when I say thousands, I mean thousands of emails and phone calls from people that said they saw me on the show. They were so motivated by me. They loved the fact that I stood up and I represented my brand, and I didn't fold over. I didn't show any sadness. I said, well, thank you, and I'll take that and raise you one. And it was women and men from around the world that had such positive, great feedback. But then also, of course, with that comes people that feel like, oh, I know if I was her, I would do this. If I was her, I'd have done that. Yeah, it's a very shoulda, coulda, woulda situation because it's unnerving to stand in front of five multi-millionaires that in your mind you feel hold your brand's livelihood in their yay or nay of an investment. Now, of course, that's how I felt then. But afterwards, when the orders came in and they flooded me, and I'm looking at my second bedroom and I'm looking in the closet where I would make my products, and I look in there, I see 100 soap bars, and we sold 10,000 units in 4 hours.
Ouch.
So, yeah. So it was very overwhelming, but it was so humbling. I think I literally, the first 3 days after that, I did not sleep, Eugene. I literally... No, I was like a zombie because I was it felt so unreal. It felt like I was living someone else's life.
Wow. Every
time you turn around, someone's on the phone, wants to interview me. Someone wants to talk to me. Someone wants the product. I mean, it was crazy. People were like, yeah, I'm trying to find out where I can come pick the product up. Well, we didn't have any retail locations but my brother's shop. And he said when he went to his shop the next day, it was a line wrapped around the corner of people waiting on him to go to his shop. He didn't have enough inventory.
You had 100 bars in the closet, right? So
yeah. And what they didn't understand was when people saw me in December, they thought, oh, she just taped this. That it doesn't happen like that. I didn't just tape that then and walk off the stage. So people were like, how are you going to go on Shark Tank and you're not prepared? And I'm like, sweetheart, I had no financial injection in my business.
Right.
And I'm doing the best I can. So I had to literally take off that, yay, I got able to be featured on Shark Tank. I had to take that hat off and put on my humble business person hat and literally take these calls of people that are saying, so what do you mean I'm not going to get my product for a month?
Oh, man.
What do you mean I'm not going to? So I had to express it to people, and you'd be amazed at how many people were like, oh, I didn't realize that.
Right.
Oh, I don't know why I thought you'd have just had thousands of units sitting up waiting.
I don't know why they think every business owner has, $1 million of product sitting in the basement ready to move.
Yeah.
Even if you had the injection, you probably wouldn't have set it all in $1 million of inventory, I'm guessing.
No, because you can't top your funds like that. But that's all the ins and outs and the little pieces of business and entrepreneurship that, you that's not textbook stuff there. That's stuff you kind of got to learn as you go along.
Right. Well, I've definitely enjoyed learning from you. We've been talking to Lydia Evans of swagessentials.com right here on Radio for Small Business. You can check us out, homebabiz.com. Do us a favor. When we put this show on, like it, share it, tweet it, whatever you can do to it, because Lydia, I really wish you much success. Why don't you give the listeners a way to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. You can go to our website, which is swagessentials.com. You can also find us on pretty much every social media platform. On Facebook, we're on Swag Essentials, one full word. On Twitter, and I also have an Instagram. Everyone loves to connect with me on Instagram, and that is at swag_essentials. And that's the Twitter and the Instagram. And as far as if you want to get in contact with me personally, or you have a question for me, you want to connect with me personally, go to our website, hit up the contact form, put your purpose of contact in there. And if I don't contact you back directly, my customer care manager or my assistant will.
Awesome. Lydia Evans, swagessentials.com. Thank you for taking your time out here on homebabiz.com.
Thank you, Eugene. Have a great day.
Connect, capitalize, go.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rowe, host of the podcast For Business. On behalf of our team, I'd like to say thanks. Every month, we're able to impact thousands of lives all over the globe with relevant, impactful, and insightful guests. Some of them have even been featured on national television shows like ABC's Shark Tank and CNBC's The Profit. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the podcast For Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
All new Radio for Small Business.
It's Radio for Small Business, your host, Eugene Rowe. Check us out on homebabiz.com. That's HOMBABAZ.biz.com. I better spell it right myself. Nevertheless, if I get it wrong, someone's going to get me organized to get it right. Miss Angela Cody, owner of Major Mom, is on the show. Angela, welcome.
Thank you, sir. It's good to be on your show.
Now, Major Mom, those are two words that normally don't go together, so you got to tell us what's up.
Well, I was a major in the Air Force.
Really?
And yes, I was in the United States Air Force, served for almost 14 years. I had a baby girl when I was a major in the Air Force. I would get home from duty, and my husband would say, Major Mom is home. And then my son was born 18 months later, and I decided that military life and motherhood were no longer compatible, so I resigned my commission and got out to be an entrepreneur of all things.
Oh, man. So getting out of the military, 14 years as a major, first of all, thank you for your service. I really appreciate that.
Welcome.
That was obviously a big switch from a lot of structure in the military to an entrepreneur. Tell us some of the things that went through your head. Tell us some of the ping pong that might have gone through your head.
In the military, you really are told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So you don't really have to do a lot of thinking for yourself. However, there are times when the best made plans go awry. And I think that's where I was taught the skills that I'm now using in the entrepreneur world, because you have a plan B for any mission. And many people know that plan goes to pot pretty quickly in some arenas. And then you need to adapt, overcome, use everything you know to make sure the mission gets met. And I think, wow, that is so much like entrepreneurship, because you have this idea and these goals, and you're going to have this many clients and make this much revenue, and you have your projections and all the fancy schmancy plans, and then they don't
They don't work like that, do they?
And then you have to start going, okay, plan B, plan C, plan D, and we're already at plan, not what would be C right now.
Now, when it comes to, being flexible, because flexibility is a major key for an entrepreneur. And I know a lot of people who haven't taken that's a major thing for them. Were you naturally that flexible as far as making backup plans, or is it something that you purely learned in the military?
I grew up in the most chaotic environment in terms of moving 16 times by the time I was 14. My dad was in construction. My mom was a nurse. And sometimes we'd have literally 5 or 6 hours to get our house packed up and move.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
just really created a ton of flexibility in terms of my relationship with time and stuff and, attachments to things. I think that then the military does the same thing because you move, you switch units, you switch squadrons. And even though the mission is changing in each of those units, there's still some standard operating procedures that you can cling to. And I think that's why I created Major Mom, because I saw people being really organized at work in the corporate environment, but they were totally disorganized in their business or their home, their office, not invoicing people, just not being on top of their game with good time management. And that's why 8 years ago we started this organizing company to help others really keep their act together, if you will, because I don't know if you agree with me, Eugene, but I think that being organized is a critical skill in entrepreneurship.
I agree 100%. In fact, we're talking to Miss Angela Cody, owner of Major Mom. She helps individuals, businesses get organized with her business. Former United States Air Force officer. And we're talking about the importance of organization to entrepreneurship. Angela, give us a couple more tips or maybe some things that just being organized could help a business owner do.
Being organized in general, I think, requires you to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. So some people listening today may be really good at organizing their numbers. They might be good at organizing their papers, or maybe they aren't organized at all. So they still try to be their own bookkeeper, still try to be their own assistant, and create their own file systems and never reach out for help. So my first big thing is entrepreneurship is not meant to do alone. It's meant to outsource and gather other people that have great skills than you do in certain areas so that you can do what you're super good at versus spending lots of time in the office doing something you hate doing.
Right. And you know what? There are businesses out there where the owner actually works for the guy he hired as a CEO or the girl they hired as a CEO just because the owner knows his limitations. And I think that's a great piece of advice. What are some other things that you found that simply being organized can do to help entrepreneurs succeed?
Well, being organized in terms of your office, in your life, it saves you time, money, and energy. A lot of business owners that we organize have duplicate purchases on so many levels, which is such a waste of time, whether it's 2 or 4 printers, gadgets and gadgets. Guess what's the thing I find the most in offices, disorganized offices, when we go to organize them? And these are solopreneurs or maybe 2-people companies. It's software. The magic bullet, they buy all this software and it sits on the shelf and never gets open. Or books that never get open, and their offices are full of stuff that they think, if I just read this book, if I just get this software, if I just sign up for this program, or if I just go to 10 more networking events, I'll have 200 business cards that I can throw in a box and do nothing with.
Oh, man.
So that's my second thing is do something with those business cards. Otherwise, just stay home.
Yeah, you'll save a lot of time. I think I read a stat up to 80% of networking events and trade show leads go unfollowed up on, which is kind of crazy. So we're talking to Angela Cody. She's owner of Major Mom. She is an organizer extraordinaire, former Air Force major. That's an officer, I think. Angela, we've been on the process of talking about